In this workshop, I'm going to show you how I'm using two simple systems to get 5 to 10 high ticket clients every month for my coaching business. And this is what we're going to cover today. So we're going to take a look at how you can create the content that actually attracts soulmate leads, people that actually want to work with you and believe in what you're creating. The second thing is how you can build your tribe and gain more trust. And when I say tribe, I really mean a school community. I'm going to walk you guys through all of the frameworks. And then last but not least, how you can easily sell your high ticket offer through the DMs. So without any sales calls. And I know right now, like to some of you in here, you might be thinking like, what do you mean without a sales call? Like that is such a wild concept, right? But I'm going to give you guys my framework. So let's continue. I want to tell you guys why I'm doing this workshop in the first place. Besides me obviously loving Zoom, right? I'm really doing it because I know how frustrating it can be not knowing how to attract like the perfect clients, your ideal clients, not just followers, not just like people that tell you, oh, your content is awesome, but like they don't really want to work with you. So I know that frustration. I know like how frustrating it is not knowing if or when they're even going to reply to you after they say the magic, I'll think about it, which I think everyone at this point has heard, especially if you guys actually done like sales calls and stuff, you know, it's the magic, I'll think about it, which really means no. And the last thing is like, you know, you not knowing what you said or didn't say that made them ghost you after like a 50, 60 minutes sales call. So I know all of this because that was me last year, right? And I think this session alone, and I'm not just saying this, I think this would have saved me at least like 6 months of just struggling and banging my head against the wall trying to figure it out, right? So my purpose with this workshop, guys, is to give you the clarity that will eliminate all of that confusion so that you can work with the people who really believe in you. Because this is what we want as content creators and as online coaches, without needing to do like any convincing or like weird tricks, because nobody really wants that, right? And before we continue, just a heads up, guys. So this workshop is going to be interactive. And at some point, I will ask you, everyone in here, for some feedback. And you get to contribute with your own ideas as we are going to create something awesome together. You guys are now able to do that through the chat. So it's going to be awesome. The second thing, right now, if possible, take a moment and really lock in, because I want you to really focus for the next like 60 minutes or so. And I'll promise it's going to be worth it especially if you're all in on growing your business. And the last thing, please, again, ask any questions all throughout. If I don't get to answer the questions, I'm going to do that in the Q&A at the end. Some of you in here, you guys know I love hearing myself talk, but I actually love helping you guys more. So I don't want to just like yap without, you know, looking at the questions. Cool. So Jelena in the chat says, I hate to sell. Trust me, I know that feeling. And with our entire model, this is the thing. You don't really like do hard selling. You let the work speak for itself. Cool. So let's jump in here. I want to tell you guys a quick story, fun story. A couple of weeks ago, I was in the desert outside Dubai. This is me trying to look cool. I don't know if I actually succeeded, but you know. So I was driving like a desert bike for the first time. So it's my first time in safari. You know, I'm renting like a desert bike. And even though I'm a great driver, if I do say so myself, driving through those dunes in the desert like felt like a roller coaster, right? I almost crashed like 4 times. It was absolutely crazy. I had this like guide in front of me. I was supposed to follow him, but I like the mountain bike. I don't know, like the mountain, not the mountain. The desert bike is really weird and it's tough to drive. And I almost like flipped a bunch of times. It was crazy. And I couldn't really see the clear path because of the sands. And overall, it was a chaotic, my voice is gone, almost fun ride, right? And that is how I felt last year. I had fun, but it was super chaotic. I almost crashed so many times. And when I say crashed, I really mean almost like almost stopped it all, because at times, especially when I started actually doing coaching and with the high ticket offer, I didn't really know what I was doing. And all of that was like because I didn't know how to attract my ideal clients, or soulmate clients as I like to call them. I didn't know how to speak to them, and I really ended up trying to convince strangers to buy my stuff, right? But after I started applying what I'm about to share in this workshop, I immediately saw a change. So overall, better content, better clients, and better business. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think everyone in here wants these things, right? So if you do, awesome. And this is what I'm using to scale past 200,000 plus this year alone with my consulting business. And I really spent 2 years, if not more, in total, like figuring all of this out. So right now you guys don't have to, because this is my entire thesis. You guys might, some of you who know me by now, you might know this already. Like my entire thesis is use the pain that I have gone through so that I can help others, right? So that's pretty much it. Now, before we dive into strategies and all of it, I want to tell you guys a quick story, but like my timeline and how I got here. So this is little Andre, happy creative kids. This is a picture from like, I was at my grandma's and I got this like toy in here in the corner. I was super happy because it was like a thing you would spin, something like that. I don't know. I was into, obviously creative toys. And this is me, the legendary future driver, even though I could barely touch the pedals, obviously. So what I'm trying to say, I was really creative ever since I was super, super young. So in second grade, third grade, I was making magazines, hustling with tattoos. In fifth grade, like drawing tattoos with the pen, hustling kids. What I'm trying to say is I've always had this like desire to create, right? And fast forward, I actually discovered music. I made music for most of my life. And in 2017, right around the time I quit college, because I dropped out, I got on Upwork and I was basically doing freelancing design, and I got $7 for my first logo. Yay. Like that is awesome. Like it's $7. And then 2019 comes around and I actually moved to the UK. I'm from Romania, so I moved to the UK and I got a job in Amazon at the Amazon warehouse. Don't worry, this is not me. I don't actually have a photo of myself from there. But I worked in that warehouse for like 3 months and a half, and I want to say like that completely sucked. It was awful. Like I was having hallucinations. I was working the night shift. It was completely awful. But that helped me a lot because it gave me like a really good perspective into how tough things can be when you're working like a physical, stressful job like that, right? And long story short, I started to grow as an artist, started making like music. The music got pretty successful locally in my country, but I was really like a creative entrepreneur stuck in the wrong industry. And I decided like the industry is just not allowing me to really be who I want to be, right? And at the end, or like in the summer of 2022, I just stopped that. It was the easiest decision I've ever made. And then I went 100% into business. I started a creative agency, which was awful. So I made a lot of mistakes with that. But I learned. I started e-com stores as well. 2 of them. The first one was completely like it flopped, it failed. Second one crushed. I scaled that. And I started an e-learning platform as well. A really cool thing with guitar courses online. And that's how I discovered kind of like digital products. But at one point towards the end of 2023, I realized I was too stressed out. I almost actually died because of stress. I was going in and out of hospitals. It was way too much, like running all of this at once, like 3 companies. And so I started my personal brand. I stopped all of that and I started my personal brand. And 2024, guys, it was insane. Like I posted 4 months, like every single day. And I was at 100 followers, and then one video hit, and then from there, the rest is history. And I started, obviously, like my coaching business. I started with the low ticket offers. I'm not gonna get into like all of that, but what I'm trying to say, it was actually amazing, but it was still super new for me and chaotic. And so I made a lot of mistakes, which hopefully I will help you guys avoid with this. And now 2025 for me, it's all about scaling with clarity, working only with soulmate clients, making no compromises, and not overwhelming myself. So clarity to me, like you guys are gonna hear me say this word a lot of times. I'm all about clarity. So this is what I want to give you, obviously, with everything, with my content and with this workshop. So currently I'm running Unlock Creators. This is basically my company. We're basically having the inner circle for online coaches. And inside Unlock Creators, I'm using the Unlock Creator model. So this is basically a simple three-phase system that we're using. We're focusing on offer genesis, which is basically a phase in which we build, for example, your offer. We make sure you build your unique brands. We understand your soulmate clients. We get super clear on that. The leads engine, as I like to call it, super simple. I'm going to break everything down in this workshop. This is basically your entire mechanism of bringing qualified leads 24/7. And finally, Clients Ascension, which is a super simple sort of like ladder, as I like to call it, to move people from essentially being strangers and viewers to actual high ticket paying clients. So does that sound good so far? Am I still, you guys can still hear me? Just checking before I move on. And yeah, hopefully I didn't. Yeah, awesome, cool. So let's actually jump in here. So the first thing, guys, how you can create the content that actually attracts the people that you want to work with, that want to work with you, and that believe in your content, aka soulmate leads or soulmate clients. Now, before you even like dive into the content, you need to get like crystal clear on who you want to serve, right? So even if you guys started right, like by now, even if you're more advanced, you need to really be clear on who am I serving? Because as a coach, if you want to help everyone, you'll end up helping no one. I kept saying this and I'm gonna keep saying it because this is my biggest epiphany from like last year. And you have to get rid of the fear of like specializing or like niching down, because I know I had this fear myself. You guys might be thinking like, oh, if I really specialize on something, like if I really double down on a niche, then I'm gonna lose like so many potential clients, right? And while that makes sense kind of like in your mind, the reality is obviously like it's actually the opposite. When you're niching down, what you're gonna do is you're gonna become the hero in that particular market and people will gravitate towards you. And this is what you want. Being a generalist rarely helps when it comes to creating content. And so you wanna get clear on who your soulmate client is, right? And for this, I have this super simple system which you guys can take and apply right now. So if you don't really know like who am I trying to serve? Who's my ideal client, right? You can use this method, which I like to call the 3-stack, which is a super simple list of first, their profession. So get super clear on what is their job title and what are their responsibilities? What do they do, right, for their profession? 2 is their current situation. So this is going to be income, lifestyle, constraints, pain points, their life right now. And the third thing is their desired outcome. So this is their biggest goals. So income goals, lifestyle goals, personal growth goals, and depending on your niche, obviously this might be different. But it's really with this, we're trying to understand basically what they're doing for their for a living, what is their job, what is their current situation, and where they want to be. And we define a point A and point B. And the bridge between all of that, that is basically your offer. And that is where you will come in. So hopefully this makes sense. You can take a screenshot of this. You guys are going to have the replay either way. But yeah, it's really important to get super clear on this, because a lot of people, what they do is they jump into creating content without actually knowing who their soulmate client is. And this is what we want to avoid, right? And once you get clear on who your soulmate client is, right, you need to understand how to speak to them. And this is what I'm going to show you right here. So 99% of people, content creators, coaches, think that if they just provide enough value, people will naturally want to work with them. And be honest, like, have you ever went through that? Like, did you ever think like, oh, if I just like post more value, more tips, more education, if I just post more, then people are going to want to work with me? Like, have you ever gone through that? And yeah, so all the time, right? Because like we have this notion of, if I provide like the best education in the world, everyone is going to gravitate towards me. But that's not really like how it works, unfortunately. And this is like the value trap, as I like to call it, that you're probably in right now. And excuse this random image. It's kind of creepy, but it's just AI. This was me literally last year. So I was having sales calls with people that were just like watching some reels here and there. They didn't really know who I was. They didn't really know what I was doing, what was my mechanism. I didn't really have a mechanism. I was just creating content, right? And we got on a call. The call was going all awesome. Obviously, we get to that point where I was talking about the price, right? I would tell them the price, and then they would be like, yeah, I'm gonna let you know. And then this was me on my phone, literally sitting there like, please buy, like, please tell me you're in, please, da-da-da. And that was the value trap that I was stuck in. And for the life of me, trust me guys, I couldn't understand why, right? So I was stuck in this, what I like to call the educator modes. I was creating content that was logical, step by step, and overall it was purely educational. So it was all, here's this funnel for Instagram. Here's how you can create a carousel. Here's like step by step. And in my mind, it was awesome. My mind was like, I'm crushing it. But here's the truth. People don't really buy because of your tips or your like technical videos. And they buy because they feel like you are the only person who truly understands them. So I'm gonna say that again. They buy because they feel like you are the only person who truly understands them. They don't care about like the tips and tricks they can find online or on Google or YouTube. They care about like who you are, first of all, and if you can really, really understand their situation. And this is what I'm gonna help you achieve. So how do you create content, right, that makes them feel heard? Because this is what we want as people. You apply an approach that I like to call soulmate messaging. So this is basically the content that mirrors your audience's inner thoughts. And it's basically making them feel like, wow, like someone finally gets me, Like here are all of these other guys, all of these other coaches telling me about like tips, strategies, funnels, like all of this. But this person right here really understands my situation. They understand my fears, my dark thoughts, like my insecurities. They really get me. And so I believe in them and their message, I'm in. And this is what you want to achieve. And so there's a huge difference with content, because most people, what they do is they speak to their clients' problems, right? And this is content that sounds like this. Use this hack to quickly lose weight. 5 websites to get clients. No content ideas, steal this guide. So this is all, as you can see, obvious stuff, right? It's pretty surface level. But how about you would speak to your client's feelings, right? Like you're trying every meal plan to lose weight, but nothing works. I know how that feels, and here's what I did to fix it. How does that sound? Another example. Ever get that feeling you're not good enough to get clients? I know I was, right? Another example. You've been so overwhelmed you can't even create a single script, but that's not your fault. And here's what's up. So you see the difference? This is just speaking to their problems, like, hey, here are 5 websites, here are like 5 tips, 5 steps, all of this. But this is speaking to their feelings. Now, which one of these do you think is going to resonate more with actual people that want to work with you? This one, right? So again, we have the educational approach. This is some more examples. So how to attract the right partner. Let's say you guys are like someone in here, a relationship coach, You could say, yeah, 5 green flags to look for in a relationship partner or something like that. That is useful. That sounds cool, but it doesn't really speak to me. You know what I mean? It doesn't really speak to my feelings, what I'm going through. Now, how about a soulmate messaging approach? This is like, why is it so easy to attract people who don't commit, but the ones you actually like always pull away? How many people can relate to this? I know I can. So again, it speaks to the actual feelings. Now, another one. You're amazing at giving advice to your friends about love, but when it comes to your own dating life, it's a mess. Why? See, so this right here, the soulmate messaging approach, this isn't just about tips. It reflects their pain points in a way that feels personal. And when your content actually does that, that will be the moment when people will gravitate towards you and actually message you to work with you. And I put this graph in here. Let me check the chats. Awesome. So people are saying, great, so true. I'm really glad it resonates, guys, because I'm really glad everyone here is awesome. You guys came here with like an open mind, and this is what we need to evolve. And by the way, I'm still this is still an epiphany for me, for myself as well. So I'm still on the way myself. So this is like an image that really clearly puts it into perspective. So we have kind of like this iceberg analogy. So the tip of the iceberg, what you see on the surface, these are the surface level pain, right? So no clear strategies, I cannot lose weight. I don't know what offer to sell. I don't have content ideas. I don't have enough clients. These are obvious things, right? Like everyone knows these problems. Now, what about underneath the surface? This is the deep pain. So we're talking about like failures. We're talking about trauma that people, your potential clients, haven't dealt with. We're talking about struggles. We're talking about insecurities. We're talking about the imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, all of these different things beneath the surface, right? And the thing is, most coaches only scratch the surface of their audience's struggles. They talk about what their audience needs, but not how they feel about it. And this is huge. If you can actually describe their struggle, your client's struggle, right, better than they can, they will assume you have the answer. And hopefully you actually have the answer if you know what you're doing. So if you can describe their struggle better, they'll come to you. That is the secret. So surface level pain, again, an example. I cannot get clients. I think everyone in here might be struggling with that, right? I cannot get clients. Obviously, that's super obvious, right? That's surface level. But what is the deep emotional pain? Well, I feel like I'm doing everything right, but no one actually values what I do. And so every time you're creating content, you want to think, what's really happening in their mind? Oh, I'm putting myself out there, but I feel invisible. I know I'm good at what I do, so why is no one buying? How many of you right now are thinking that? Like how many, or like you thought that in the past? I know I was thinking that. Another one, it's exhausting trying to prove my worth every day. So when you're actually creating content, I'm sure everyone at one point in here, you guys went through this. Or maybe it's just me, you know, maybe you guys like don't really deal with this. And if you don't, that's awesome. But a lot of people do. And obviously, depending on the niche, this might change. Now, what I want to tell you guys is whenever you're creating content, you can use this super simple method, which I like to call feel, think, and say. So ask yourself these 3 questions about your audience. 1, what are they feeling, right? What is their emotional state? Are they exhausted, frustrated, hopeless, doubtful? What are they feeling right now? The second thing, what are they actually thinking, but not saying out loud? So what is that quiet thought in the back of their mind that they're scared to admit? So these are things like, maybe I'm not good enough. What if this never works for me? I don't want to be salesy, but I need to make money, right? So I think like we had someone actually say that, like, I hate sales, right? So these are actual things that people are thinking. Now, the third thing, what would they say to an actual friend? This is super interesting. So how would they actually phrase this in real life? Like, I could be like, hey, you know, John, I feel like I'm trying everything, man, and nothing is actually working. Like, I don't get it. I'm showing up every day, but no one is buying. Why does business feel easy for everyone else but me? Like, what is happening right now? If you really spend time to understand, what do they feel? What do they think? What do they say? I promise, even just understanding this will change the way you create content forever. So let's do an exercise right now, because I said this is going to be interactive. I want you guys to think of your niche right now. We got people from all around the world working in different niches. And I want you guys to take a second to write a surface level pain. You can put it in the chat, right? From your niche in the chat. We can take like 2-3 minutes for this, and whatever like niche you're in, think of like the surface level pain. So example, if you're in the fitness niche, a surface level pain of your clients could be something like, oh, I cannot gain muscle, or I cannot lose weight. That's a surface level. That's an obvious pain, right? And then what we're gonna do after you guys wrote that, we're gonna write the actual deep emotional pain behind it. So let's do a brainstorming session together. I'm gonna write mine on my screen. You guys type that in the chats, and let's do a brainstorming session so you guys can actually understand this. So let me type this. So I'm gonna say something like, I don't know how to attract the best clients, super surface level. And I'm going through the chat right now. So I wrote mine in here. Let's see what you guys have. So, can lose weight. Do you want to lose weight? I've overcome overeating myself and lost 83 kilograms. That is awesome. I'm in the trading niche. Surface level pain would be I'm losing all my trades. That is awesome. Surface pain, no content idea. Yeah, awesome. So see, like we're already doing an awesome brainstorming session here. So right now that we have these, what is the actual deep emotional pain behind all of this? So based on what you just said in the chat, what is the deep emotional pain behind it? So for example, Anthony said no content idea. What is the deep emotional pain behind that? Because that is what we're going to tackle with the content. So I'm just going to write mine in here. You guys can take some inspiration. So for example, for me, before I read the chats, I wrote this in here, like, I'm afraid I'm not good enough, so I don't want to show my true self and what I can actually do on camera. This goes beyond, like, I don't know how to attract the best clients, right? So this is a deep pain. So let's see what you guys have. Deep pain for me was I feel insecure because I'm fat. There we go. Deep pain for me was I already feel like I'll lose money before I even take a trade. That is so good, Paul. Sweating, nervousness, hell. I know how you feel from the moment you wake up until you go to bed. Another angry summer is coming. That is so good. That is awesome. Deep pain. I'm insecure to develop my personal brand. There we go. Camila, I can lose weight by dieting, but then I gain it back and have to start all over again and feel like failure. Awesome. So this is like, guys, this is amazing. We're already doing an amazing brainstorming session right here with just a couple of ideas. So you see where I'm going with this now. When you're creating content, try to tap into that more than into the surface level pain. So I'm just going to use another angry summer example because I thought that was genius. So when you're making content, instead of saying, hey, 5 tips to lose weight, why don't you, start with something like, aren't you sick of going through like another angry summer? Like this summer is around the corner and you're already feeling like crap. You're already like, you don't even want the summer to be here. Like, aren't you tired of this? I've been where you are. Here's what you can do, right? So when you really speak to that deep pain, that's when everything really changes. And another like exercise we could do based on this in the chat, writing a soulmate messaging hook, right? So this is basically, instead of saying, it's literally the example I gave. So instead of saying, here are 5 ways to lose weight or something like that, you can do like a really like soulmate messaging hook. So if you guys have any ideas, let's type it in the chats and then we can move on. So, because yeah, I think this is like honestly such a great exercise to do. And even, seeing the things that you guys wrote in the chat right now, I think this is awesome. So let's see if we can get like some awesome hooks. I'm just gonna write mine in here. So tying into this, probably gonna write something like, did you ever feel you're not good enough to get the clients you want? I was in that place too. Here's what I did. And this is just an idea. So I wrote mine in here. Did you ever feel you're not good enough to get the clients you want? I was in that place too. Here's what I did. So it's tapping into this, let me draw this pain, feeling like you're not good enough. Yeah, so Jelena says, if you're not good enough, you don't have to make it worse. That's awesome. So that's an awesome hook idea. And again, you can do this exercise with literally all of the, going back to feel, think, and say, all of the things that you've identified that your soulmate clients feel and think and say, and basically flip those from the surface level pain into the deep pain, and then you can do hooks based on that. So Paul says, if you're telling yourself, I lose money anyways, every time you place a trade, you need to try this. So this is so good, because if I'm someone, so guys, the whole idea is, if I'm someone, for example, in this position I'm in trading, and if I actually think that the second I see that hook, I'm gonna feel like Paul is calling me out, right? I'm gonna be like, oh wait, that's me. Like, it's like he's speaking to me. And that I know it sounds like cliche, but that is the reaction you want to get from people. Not just like another this video was cool in terms of education and stuff. So Camila says, are you frustrated because all of the fit influencers give you advice but nothing works? Awesome. So tapping into the frustration, not saying like, use this exercise or try this workout routine, understanding their frustration. That is awesome. So if you guys have any other ideas for hooks, you can type them in the chat, but let's continue with this. So now that we had a look at the soulmate messaging approach, I want to tell you guys that the biggest hack to creating content that actually attracts your soulmate clients is being yourself and being authentic. I'm sure to everyone in here, this might sound super cliche, but trust me, this is the truth. Now, authenticity, we got a quote here from Brené Brown. She says, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. So I thought that was really cool, because it applied to me for honestly most of my life. So I struggled when I started creating my personal brand. I struggle with this thing of like, oh, I have to pretend, I have to be in a certain way or speak in a certain way for people to even like me, which was obviously bullshit. It was crap. And so it is a daily process every time you open up the camera, right? And I'm sure everyone in here is going through that. Like when you're guys opening up the camera, you think to yourself, maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I should speak in this certain way. Is my hair all right? Is for the ladies in here, is my makeup all right? Like, how is the camera angle? Like every single thing, right? And what you're doing, essentially, you're depriving yourself of that just happiness of embracing who you really are, right? And this is what we want to do as content creators, as coaches, being authentic, because that is how you actually attract the people that are like you, right? And I want to drop a really big truth value bomb in here. Your pain, whether that's personal or in business, is your content megaphone. And I'm going to say this again because I think it's so cool. Your pain is your content megaphone. So I said this in the beginning. My thesis is that you can take the bad stuff from your life, the struggles, the deep emotional pain, the insecurities, the trauma that you went through, whether that's in business or in personal life, depends on how you want to look at it. And you can take that and apply that to help others and create content with that and speak to other people that are going through the same thing, right? So that is basically the entire thesis of being authentic. You have to show those vulnerable sides of you, because what happens when you actually do that, you eliminate all competition, because the competition, as you guys can see here, is all about using hacks, using tips. This is the market, right? Most coaches, most creators are here. They're surface level. But when you're actually sharing your pain, sharing your story in here, and creating deeper connections, this is when you're creating your own world. And long story short, no one can compete with you in your own world, because no one has your story 100%. Again, it sounds cliche, right? But your story is what makes you you. And if you actually want to work with your dream clients as a coach, you want to share your pain, you want to share your story, you want to create those deeper connections and create your own world instead of stepping into the big market with the competition, right? So that's pretty much the biggest difference from all of this. Because again, most of us, I'm going to raise my hand, I'm going to be the first one that raises his hand. Most of us are afraid to be our fully authentic selves because we think deep down we won't be enough. That is the human condition. So we say something like, I got to act like this for them to like me. I was saying this the entire last year in 2024. I got to speak like this for them to pay attention. I got to put on this facade, because if I really let people in, they're going to see I'm not perfect. But guess what? No one is. So everyone, including myself again, is fighting all of these limiting beliefs. And it's a job every single day to fight these and to defeat these. But the thing is, the minute you let people in and show that you're in fact human, just like them, just like everyone else, and share your story and the lessons that came with that story, that is when you create your own world, and that is when people gravitate to you. So a practical exercise that I have for everyone in here, you guys can do this tomorrow, even after the workshop. Super simple. Open up the camera, go for a walk, or at your desk, your office, whatever, go anywhere, and record yourself just talking about your journey so far and what you learned from it. And the thing is, no pressure with this. You don't have to post the video. You don't even have to look at the video and analyze it and judge it after, because I know, we have this like, oh, this isn't good enough, all of this. No, you don't have to do that. Just do that to prove to yourself that it's possible to actually just be yourself. Because again, most people, like, this is what I'm getting from people nowadays, from like people that are creating content that want to start. Most people are looking for a hack. They're looking for a shortcut to great content. And this will sound cliche, but you are the shortcut. You are the shortcut. Again, your pain, your unique story, the journey so far, the progress that you made, the struggles, how you overcame, how you got out of that bad relationship, bad job, how you started that business, how you failed, all of these different things that make you you, that's the shortcut. Like, the shortcut is not a secret hook that you can use to instantly create the dream business. No, you are the shortcut. And the more you take off that mask of like educational content and show these vulnerable sides of you, the more you will win. So now I will check the chat and let me know if this actually makes sense to everyone, because it's really important to me to to see if you guys actually resonate with this. So I'm reading the chat now. So Paul did that exercise. Yeah, I remember, like, you went for a walk and actually like filmed the video. That was awesome. So the great thing about this type of thing, when you do this exercise, is that it unlocks this thing in your brain of like, oh wait, like I could just be myself and talk on camera. Like, it's not that hard. You don't need like a huge script. You don't need the perfect lighting or all of this crap, right? I was creating reels last year like the mainstream does, and I felt empty, like it wasn't me. And then because of that, I stopped posting reels at all. See? So a lot of the times we're trying to chase the trends and then we're losing ourselves in the process. In that situation, Camila, I'm going against myself, and I don't have need to be like that. Never. Understand the pressure of Instagram, make this, make that. And that's also a thing, right? And I completely relate. Like last year, I had this pressure of like, oh my God, I got to keep up with the trends. I got to make what's trendy. And now, mind you, I got over 50 million views on Instagram in a couple of months last year. My account took off, everything took off, and that was cool. But was that like trendy content the best possible content for my ideal clients? Probably not. And that's what happens when you really like, shy away from showing your true self and you chase trends. So I'm sick of trends as user. Yeah, like I can completely relate, right? So does this make sense to everyone? Should we continue? Because we got an epic thing coming next. But this is kind of like it for the soulmate messaging and how you can actually create the content. I really wanted to give you guys the actual framework behind it, not like some hooks or like, again, tips and tricks, because it's not about that. It's understanding the mindset behind it and the frameworks. So if you guys give me the okay in the chat, we can continue. Drink some water, guys. Make sure you stay hydrated. I know I'm gonna, because my voice is almost gone here. Awesome. And Paul says never follow, only leads. That's also a thing. So thought leadership is a huge thing. As an online coach, you have to be a leader. You have to be someone that dares to speak their truth and show their vulnerabilities, and that people will actually wanna follow. So let's go into the second thing, because this is a bit more technical, and I'm gonna give you guys some game big game in here. So this is how to build your tribe and actually gain more trust with your people. So again, when I say tribe, I really mean a community. And I'm gonna do a deep dive in here into my leads engine. This is basically the system that we have. So super simple. As you guys can see here, 3 key platforms. Instagram for short form content. This is where you post short form content and you attract those soulmate leads. Then you send those soulmate leads to YouTube, where you educate them, but not in the style of like, hey, tips and tricks. You really go in depth and you share your own process, your own unique story. And then you move those leads, which are slightly more educated, slightly more in tune with who you really are, into a free school community. And this is basically, as you can see on the chart here, they start off cold in terms of the audience. As they watch your YouTube channel, they become slightly warmer. Why YouTube? Because YouTube long form content is really where the trust is built. Because watching a 30-second reel, especially if you're selling high ticket, is just not enough for people to buy from you. So you want to post YouTube content, especially in 2025. I'm doubling down on YouTube. YouTube is king. And then the best possible place that I found to nurture people, to gain trust, to build connections, and to sell through literally DMs is Skool. Because this is basically, if you guys are not familiar with Skool, this is a platform that allows you to post courses. They have a classroom. You also have a chat forum section. You can, you can talk to people. You can do events as well. So if you guys are, for example, in our free school, in the Unlocked Creators Academy, you guys will see the infrastructure there. I will ask Paul here if you can please drop the link for anyone who's not in. If you guys are not in, make sure you join, because we have some amazing things in there. So just to like show you why you should even like have a free school in the first place, because I know like to some of you, school might be like still this kind of like weird concept. Now you want to do this because it really allows you to create your tribe, and again, bring people in almost like take them from Instagram, from YouTube, which are kind of like colder platforms, and bring people closer to you and introduce them to your own unique system. And I'm going to show you how you can do that and how you can actually set this up. Then what it allows you to do is it allows you to develop real connections, share updates from your life, doing all of this, something that you cannot really do as intimately on Instagram. Even though you have the DMs, Skool is just way better. And what it really does also, it builds so much trust that they cannot say no. And this is basically the 3 big things with the free school. And let me just show you now what we have in here for anyone who's not familiar with Skool. So this is my academy in here. So you guys have like the chat in here. You can post stuff. We have different posts in here. You guys can post videos, pictures, stuff like that. And then what Skool really like, what the big thing is about, is like Skool has this classroom section. And in here, everyone is basically throwing courses and stuff. We do it differently, and I'm going to break down how we're doing it. But we're basically doing this by levels. And the way this works, you get access to the next level once you completed the stuff from the current level. And inside of the academy, once you guys join, or if you're already there, you will have access to the entire level 1, right? And in here, we have the Offer Genesis Masterclass, walking you guys through self-discovery, your soulmate client's profile, building your AI persona. Even this thing is really cool. So if you're not in the school, join. You got the link there. It's awesome. But basically, you have this. You have the calendar in which you can set up events. You have the members tab in which you have your members leaderboards, where basically the more people engage, the more they can level up. So this is pretty cool. And that's pretty much it for like the sort of like structure of a typical Skool community. Now, if I go back here, the biggest mistake that most people make, most people throw random courses and materials in the classroom. So you saw the classroom with the levels. What most people do, again, we're going back to this educational kind of like obsession. They're throwing like so many videos, so many materials, PDFs, guides, webinars, all of this. And what ends up happening, that only creates more overwhelm. And it leads to this overwhelm spiral, as I like to call it. So this is how, the typical person sort of like joins the Skool community. They're like, I'm confused, I may need help with this seems interesting, let's check this out, right? But if you throw all of these courses and materials and everything at them at the same time with 500 videos, what really is going to happen is it's going to lead to confusion. They're going down the spiral. Then confusion is going to lead to overthinking, because they're going to be like, oh wait, I have this video, where do I start, right? Overthinking is going to lead to a lack of clarity, and the lack of clarity is going to lead to a lack of confidence, and that in turn brings no action, which is definitely not what you want your leads or your clients to do. And essentially they start with this, I'm confused, I may need help, let's check this out, and they end up being more confused than they were in the beginning, saying like, I'm more confused now because you just threw all of these courses at me, I'm out, right? I'm not going to take any action. And so the solution for all of this is you want to present your unique mechanism in clear phases or levels. And I'm going to break this down. Now, you want to give the first phase and level for free in the free Skool. So if you guys actually want to build a really strong coaching business, this model in here is amazing. And I'm going to break everything down for you. So when I say unique mechanism, if you guys are not familiar with this is basically your own unique process as a coach to deliver the outcome. So we have this quote from Blair Enns. I mentioned it in the past as well, but it's amazing. Low variability in process equals low variability in outcome. In other words, the more predictable your process is, the more of a safe option you're going to appear in your client's perspective. And I would really recommend using this classic 3 phases formula for your program, for your mechanism, to deliver a predictable outcome. Now, when I say predictable, obviously when it comes to a process, you can adapt it based on who's joining your program. Everyone is different, but you need a signature method. You need a standardized process, with almost like a doctor, right? When you're going to a doctor, they're going through this process. The diagnosis, like they look at you, they examine you, and they recommend something, right? And so this is what you want to have 3 main big phases. Why 3? Because 5 would be a bit too much. 2 or 1 phase would not be enough. 3 is the sweet spot. And this is literally what I have in here. So I practice what I preach. So I have Offer Genesis, Leads Engine, and Clients Ascension. And as you guys can see, they look really, they look cool with the gold gradient and stuff. They have these symbols. It all ties into branding. And when you're basically creating your unique mechanism, you want to make sure you name these in a unique way. But how we're basically delivering this mechanism, all of these phases, we're doing that through a model which I like to call the Unlocked Mastery. So this is basically, if you guys are familiar with gaming here, in games you can level up, you can rank up, you can get some ranks. And I used to play a lot of video games when I was younger, not anymore, but you basically were doing this fun thing with like every level is going to have a badge. And the more you level up, the more badges you can get. And it's kind of like this gamified experience, right? So in our free Skool, that's how you can set it up yours as well. Depending on, like, let's say you want to do 3 phases, only 3 levels, or 4 levels, 6 levels. In my case, it's 6. We're leaving like the level 1, right, open, so anyone can join in here. And now these are all locked. And this is, I'm gonna tell you guys an analogy here that really, this was another big epiphany for me, which hopefully will be for you as well. We got a GIF in here. This is basically showing you the process. So if you guys are into Netflix and shows, your free Skool should introduce your soulmate clients to your Netflix show, aka your unique mechanism. And so you have your big show, right? The program, and you have 3 seasons. These are the phases, the 3 big phases, right? Now, what you want to do, you want to lock season 2, season 3, and you want to give them season 1 for free. Why? Because you want to make them fall in love with the story, just like in a Netflix show, the characters, the methods, and essentially think of your favorite Netflix show right now. Breaking Bad, I don't know, for me lately, it was Yellowstone. If you guys have seen that, that is completely awesome. I love country music. I love the culture. I love cowboying. I love all of that. I might get a wrench when I'm gonna go old. But basically with Yellowstone, what Netflix did, they only had like 2 seasons, I think, initially, and then they didn't have the rest of the seasons. So I became a fan, and then I was like, where are the other seasons? Like, I want to pay for them. Like, give me the other seasons because I want to watch. And it's the same thing with this. You want to lock the seasons, you want to make them fall in love with your show, with your story, your methods, and you want to make them go like, this show is so good, I want to see how it ends, right? I want the rest. Now, obviously, this is where the sale happens. So hopefully this Netflix analogy makes sense. Can I get an okay, it makes sense, or something in the chats? It was kind of like a wild analogy that I got in my mind, but I think it really works well. And I was thinking of like the way Netflix does it. Like sometimes they don't give you all of the seasons from a show, and I was like, like I would love to even like pay for them, because once I become a fan of a show, like I want to see everything. So we got a lot of yeses. Awesome. Cool. And guys, when it comes to like building your community, right? As a coach, a great onboarding process is the key to turning your soulmate leads into soulmate clients. And I'm going to give you like my own framework to doing this, and you can literally copy and paste this and apply it right now. So the first thing, on your free school, you can do an onboarding post. So this is if I go here, this is the post literally at the top, which you can pin. And in this post, you want to do like a couple of things. You want to do a quick introduction guideline, basically explaining to people like, hey, we want to get to know you. If you can make a post on the community tab and let us know where you're from, a bit about you, a bit about what you're doing. Obviously, this is going to be different to everyone. Then you want to point them to the DMs as well, because I'm going to show you guys how you can set like an auto DM system, and how you can have start actual conversations with people. And then you want to obviously point them to level 1. You can do this with the simple link in here to, again, start to introduce them to the show, right? And what you can also do, super simple, you can film a Loom video in which you're essentially presenting the community, right? And what you have on your school. You guys can look this up on here. If you guys go on my post, this is like a super simple Loom in which I'm walking everyone through the community. So this is like a big post that you are going to pin, and everyone, when they join, everyone is going to have a start here point, so they know what to do next. As coaches, we need to eliminate all of this overwhelm and lack of clarity, and literally provide a clear roadmap. So again, as I said at the beginning, I'm all about clarity. I'm all about providing that step-by-step clarity. So the second thing in terms of onboarding, school auto DMs. This is an awesome thing. So if you guys go on school, when you set this up, or if you already have a community, you guys have this like settings and then plugins. And in here, you have this option to auto DM new members. And in here, this is what I have. I have an automated message saying, hey, name, how you doing? It's great to have, and I make a typo, and I'm going to explain to you in a sec why I do that. That's the game in the academy. And so this is the message in real life. This is how it shows up. So, hey, Georgie, for example, in this case, how you doing? It's great to have, a typo in the academy. Now, why am I making a typo? You want to make a typo, super small one, right? In case they don't actually reply to this message, you want to have that typo that will basically give you a reason to follow up. And then I could be like, for example, to Georgie, if they didn't reply to me, I could be like, hey, Georgie, sorry, I meant you. Like, how's it going, right? That gives me a reason to follow up. And this is just a small trick that you can instantly apply. No harm, no foul, as they say. And it gives you a reason to follow up with them in case they haven't replied. Now, this brings us, once you have this message going out, this brings us to the last thing, which is basically how you can easily sell your high ticket offer through the DMs. And this eliminates, what I'm going to show you eliminates the needs of the classic sales call in which you're trying to do some, convincing, trying to almost like manipulate them, or beg them to like buy your thing. You don't got to do all of that. I'm going to show you the framework. So what I'm using to basically move people from like step by step is this client ascension ladder, as I mentioned in the beginning. This is a super simple visual for anyone. This can be applied to any single niche. And so just like in a ladder, we start off with the free value, which is just content on Instagram, YouTube. We move them up into the free community. We're moving up the ladder. Then we move them up into the group coaching, which is the paid school. And then as an online coach, the final step can be the one-to-one mentorship, in which you're doing one-to-one calls and basically just one-on-one partnerships with people. And you're gonna offer, because this is the thing, you don't change your offer. You're gonna offer like one hero offer, as I like to call it, like one offer with multiple levels of access. So as you see on the graph, the more access they want to you as the coach, obviously the more they have to pay. And the one-to-one mentorship, for anyone in here wanting to do one-on-one mentorship, this ladder works amazing. Why? Because most people, what they do, they find someone from Instagram who watched their videos, they try and book a call with them. That's what I was doing the entire last year. And what happens is that person does not have enough time to actually build the trust with you to pay you $3,000, to pay you $4,000, to pay you $5,000, $10,000 even. So a lot of people are rushing. And this is why we have the ladder, because it easily helps us identify where's this person right now on the ladder. Oh, they're in the YouTube. Okay, then it's probably time for them to move to the free community. I'm not gonna push for, now obviously this depends, right, on how interested they are. But in general, this really helps you. It provides you with a clear visual on what's going on. So here's my free school DM formula. I don't have a script. I don't believe in scripts. I believe in actually having human conversations, but also I'm gonna give you guys my framework, my formula, and my guidelines. And obviously this can be tailored. So we have this auto DM that opens up the conversation. And then what do you know? We're gonna have a human conversation with that person. I know it sounds crazy, right? Human conversation. And if you guys know me by now, I've been having some awesome conversation with some of you on school. Not about coaching, not about all of that, just human conversation, real life, right? So I'm gonna give an example. Let's say John joined our school, and I might message John and tell him hey John, how's it going, man? Where are you from? He might tell me, I'm from Canada, let's say. And we got Zahib in here. I'm not sure if Zahib is in. He's a member of our inner circle, but he's in Edmonton, Canada, if I had that right. And it's super cold, right? So if John is from Canada, I might tell him, oh, John, that's awesome, actually. I've heard it's super cold for you guys. I would definitely not be able to make it in the cold. I don't know, just be human, right? And it's just like on a first date. When you're at a first date, you just really want to have a conversation, get to know the person. You don't ask them to marry you, right? Hopefully. So you want to have a human conversation. And then at one point in the conversation, you want to point them to phase 1 or level 1. And this could be hey John, he seemed to be awesome. By the way, make sure you check out our level 1 or phase 1, because we're having some awesome things in there. And based on what you told me already, I think this could really help. So feel free to go in there and check that out. Then you leave some space in between these, and you're gonna want to reach out after if John, for example, didn't say anything, and maybe ask hey, how's it going? Did you check out level 1? Don't be pushy, right? You can even leave 48 hours. It really depends. Just ask how's it going, just touch base. And then you're gonna want to slowly pivot into, okay, what is their current situation, right? So I could be hey John, and by this point, John, for example, he might already have told me hey, I'm struggling with this. But if not, I can ask I saw that you're an NLP coach, for example. We have some awesome NLP coaches joining the academy. Shout out to the NLP community. That sounded super it sounded super weird, but yeah, I love NLP, and I actually studied it a bit myself. So let's say John is an NLP coach. I might tell him, hey, I saw that you're doing NLP. That's awesome. How is that going for you? And John is inevitably 99.9% of cases gonna say, yeah, I'm struggling with this. And what do you know? We're identifying at this point some problems and some challenges, right? But again, super human. Not really aggressively selling. We're not doing any of that because we don't need to. And I'm going to tell you why. And after John tells us our problem, right? You're going to want to be relatable. And this is such a big key that a lot of people skip. So what I would say in this case, instead of jumping immediately to selling, this is literally what I'm doing. What I would say is, let's say John is an NLP coach, struggles with really difficult clients. And I don't really know a lot about NLP, but I studied it a bit. What I might say is, John, look, I can't even imagine how that is. You're telling me about these difficult clients. I can't really, because I don't know NLP that much, but in my own journey, I had this, and this happened to me as well. So I can actually slightly relate to this. And I know, how hard that is, but obviously for a different niche. And you essentially want to be relatable because again, we're all human. We're all people, right? And then slowly segue as you're being relatable into your program, being like, hey, John, that is like, I struggle with this myself in a way, like I can understand that, but based on what you're telling me, John, we're actually like but do it super casually, right? We're actually having this in our inner circle. Like this is what we're tackling inside of our inner circle. And before you dive into making the invitation, you ask for permission. So you're like, hey, John, we actually have this in our inner circle. Would you mind me basically sending you our invitation document just so you can see, super casual, this might interest you. 99.9% of cases, like I'm not going to say 100%, right? But I never got a no. So I never got a no. 99.9% of the cases, especially if you follow the structure, they're going to say yes. And then what do you know? You send them, this is the big thing that replaces the sales calls, you send them an offer document. And this is the big destination for every single DM conversation that you're having, whether that's on Instagram or on the free school. This is the big destination. And this offer document basically replaces any sales call. And I'm going to break it down for you guys and how we're doing it. And basically you can take that formula and apply it to what you're doing. And then obviously close. Now, mind you, it really depends on how, what's the urgency of that particular person. But as long as you really walked people through level one, as long as you really have deep conversations with them, post that content that they really resonate with. And again, as long as you're vulnerable and actually like human, you can basically close people like this. This is what I'm doing. And I literally close people from the academy just by having, and even on Instagram, just by having like human conversations, right? I know it sounds crazy, but when you're really doing things right, you don't need to create like crazy stuff. Some people just will naturally, because again, we're human, will naturally gravitate towards you. But this is why we're talking about soulmate messaging, because you need to actually understand what they're going through. And I have another thing which you guys can do in here. On School, on the right sides, let me show you. You guys are gonna have this option to add a link on School. And what we have in here, for example, in my case, I have a really like simple page with like my video. I call this the staple or the hero video. This is basically a video in which I explain my mechanism and how I'm doing things like with the coaching business without any sales calls. And then I have a simple link to, hey, check out the invitation if you're interested. And it's got a password. And I'm gonna show you that invitation document and how we're doing things. And this is literally a model that you can take and apply to any single niche. And again, if you're someone that is like tired of sales calls, I completely get that. I was there myself. And ever since I introduced this, plus making the change with the content, I feel like everything changed. And this is what's gonna happen for you as well. So let me just go here to this link. This is our invitation document. So some of you guys might already have seen this, but if not, I'm gonna walk you through it. So it says your invitation to join us and become an Unlock creator. Super simple. I'm talking about what is my mission. A new era has begun, like Unlock creator. We have some awesome people in here with wins. We had David in here who had some awesome wins this year in the community. Zahib, we're on track to scale to 20,000 per month for his coaching business. We got Sabina doing like applying everything in the levels. That is awesome. I'm talking about like my mentor here. Like I have a testimonial from him. Then I'm saying like who this is and isn't for. So for example, if any one of you in here, like it's all about like freedom, you want to actually build something that is intentional, not a random business. If you want to work with the people that you actually love, to work with, if you're ambitious and if you love systems, this is awesome for you. We're explaining the Unlocked Mastery model, again, with the levels. You guys already know this. I'm saying what I'm going to focus on. So all of the phases in here. I have a video. So this is what you can do in your offer document. You can put videos, and this can be done on Notion, even in Google Docs. You don't have to like overly, you don't have to do anything crazy. That's the beautiful part about this. You can even do a PowerPoint presentation if you want to. Like, it doesn't really matter. You can do a video in which you're explaining your mechanism, you're explaining your phases, because with this document, it's all about making it super simple for people to understand what we're offering as the coach. So we're defining the phases, what we're going to do. So for example, for us in the Offer Genesis, it's all about building your hero's arc and unique brands, build a profile of the soulmate client, building your hero offer, an ascension ladder structure with the clear outcome. We're talking about the leads engine. I presented that in the workshop. We're talking about the client ascension, you know, the ladder already. And this is super huge. So when you're doing your document, you want to be super clear on what is the timeline, right? So for example, for us, if you guys were to join, we're doing over the next 52 weeks, from the minute you join, we're going to go through all of these phases, right? So phase one, and what I'm doing is like onboarding. When we're onboarding people, I'm doing a one-on-one basically workshop, or I call it vision strategy call, in which I'm going like over the hero offer structure or custom roadmap, all of this. So basically the idea is when someone joins, you want them to be super clear on what is going to happen, set the expectation, work with them to define the roadmap and the custom like checklist. Okay, this is what we're going to do. And in phase two, for example, for us, it's all about the leads engine, the growth, the clients, moving people up that ladder. And phase three, it's all about scaling and monitoring, right? And again, we're trying to provide as much clarity as possible for people. So no matter the niche you're in, the more clear you are about all of these things, the more obviously you speak to their feelings, not just their problems, the more you're gonna be able to sign high ticket clients, because that's the point. And in my case, for example, in here, I'm explaining like how much work this will take. And this is the sweet spot, right? Because everyone in here is wondering while they're reading the document, what is the actual cost of this? What is the investment? So for example, for us, if anyone in you here, if any one of you actually resonate with my way of doing things, if you love clarity, freedom, we're actually preparing to onboard the next members this month. So in our case, the total investment for the year is $1,200. And the entire point of what we're doing is we're trying to help you basically get you your first 1 to 2 clients to cover your entire investment. And we got people that can do this in 30 days, in 2 weeks, depending on really where you are. You can do this in 60 days. It's really depending on like your stage. And this is basically, so if anyone in you here is resonating with this, you know, we would love to onboard you. And I have this quote in here from Hormozi himself, who says that, because like I went through this myself, and my only regret was like throughout my journey, my career, was like not investing in mentorship sooner. Because I understand like when you're alone, guys, I'm not even gonna like just say that to like sell you on anything. When you're alone, like I have this saying, like lone wolves don't survive harsh winters. And I was a lone wolf for most of my life, and that's bad. And my regret is not investing in mentorship sooner. And Hormozi says the people who aren't willing to pay for education don't realize that they pay for it either way, right? So they either pay in money or they pay in time. And usually they pay with the one they value least, right? So in my case, for example, I think I wasted more than 2 years trying to bang my hand against the wall, trying out a bunch of different things, businesses and stuff, to figure it out, because I was by myself. And that's the thing that I don't want you guys to go through. So our guarantee, for example, if you were to join this, because in your document, you need a guarantee as well. It's super simple. And I know it sounds crazy, but if you don't do the work in our program, you won't get the results. And I say that because we have some absolute savages in the ring, as I like to call them, that have joined us. And they understand that even if I do, and you guys, like, you see me, like I'm genuinely passionate about giving everything. But even if I give all of the help in the world, it's on you to make it happen, right? It's on you to throw that like knockout punch. And don't worry, you're not gonna actually knock out anyone, hopefully. But in case you are interested, and anyone like in here resonates with this, here's how you can apply. Basically, you can send me an email with this secret. Paul sent you the document in the chat. You can send this passcode over email. or just send this on the free school if you're already there, and we're going to basically onboard you. We're getting ready to onboard the next people for this month, and we can then schedule our one-on-one and actually start your journey. And the last thing that I want to mention, I know some people ask me about this. We got some people that really want to scale fast, right? They're super dedicated. So I'm opening for this year basically 10 spots for my one-to-one mentorship. So again, if you really resonate with me, if it really clicks with you, I have 10 spots. Three spots have already been taken, but I have 10 spots. And in this case, if you guys know like Rocky, the movie, think of like Rocky Balboa and like Mickey Goldmill, except I won't make you chase chickens. So I'm going to be like in your corner. This is basically like a partnership in which every single week we do a one-on-one session up to 3 hours. And this is like highly involved, right? So if you're really, really involved, if you really want to scale, the total investment for this for the year is $5,000. And it's basically like 12 months of intensive mentorship. And this is basically what I'm doing with this is giving and creating something that I would have wanted, because this makes the entire difference. So if you want to join also like the mentorship, you can DM me on Skool or on the email and just send me Rocky and we can onboard you. And that's basically it for the model of the document. And this is literally, again, what you guys can take and apply for no matter the niche you're in. It's all about being super clear with what you offer. And it's all about presenting basically to your people, like presenting your world, presenting the way, like your unique mechanism, the way you're doing things. And the more you do that, the clearer you are with that, then the more people will resonate. So speaking of resonating, hopefully this resonated with everyone in here. We can now do a Q&A because it's the end of the workshop. We covered everything. Let me know like what you guys are thinking. If you have any questions about the Soulmate messaging, about even this like document, if you guys want to check it out and see how we do it, you have the link in the chat with the passcode. My voice is almost gone. I talked for the entire day, but yeah. How was the workshop so far, guys? Did it make sense? Any thoughts, any suggestions, any feedback? Again, I know it was quite hectic for the first 5 minutes, but we pulled through. And again, if you guys are not on the free school, make sure you join in here, because in here it's like the amount of value there is, and we got some awesome people implementing the stuff from the levels. It's just awesome. And the best thing I could recommend again is going through the level 1, because this will give you the most amount of clarity. Like I spent months and months working on these levels and the structure and everything, trying to like really create the best possible flow for coaches. So would really recommend that. You missed it, no worries. You guys are gonna have the replay. We're gonna send the replay out as well. So guys, any questions? Because I want to do a Q&A here at the end. This is your chance to ask anything. If you have any suggestions or anything, I'm here. We can do this for like 5 minutes or so, and then we can wrap it up. Guys, it was a pleasure to have you. Thanks again for joining. Hopefully you guys are gonna have an amazing week. I'll see you in the community, in the academy. DM me there. It's not gonna be any automated message. It's actually gonna be me. And we can have a conversation, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how you guys are applying all of this stuff, because we have some awesome people in here ready to crush it. So I'll see you guys on Skool. Thanks for joining. You guys are going to get the replay in a bit.